I've probably heard thousands of God of the Gaps arguments, and the truth is, if you've heard one, you've heard them all. They're all just arguments based on, well, you don't know or you can't explain, therefore God. They're all equally bad. But what's interesting to me is that they keep getting posited, and there is a giant, just an enormous gap problem that theists have, that they ignore or they try to dodge it completely, and that's the metaphysical or the non-metaphysical interacting with the physical. That there's no causal explanation of how a thing that is not physical can any way touch, move, or interact. Any way that you can define a mechanical interaction from the non-physical with the physical. And they'll say things like, well, God spoke and then matter is, but there's no explanation of how that worked. And even speaking is something that happens with sound waves, that happens inside of the physical, not in the metaphysical. So that's fine. Or they'll just say it's symbology. Well, it's symbolic, and that's fine, but you still have the problem that how do you get from the metaphysical or the non-physical to move or in any way interact with the physical? You still don't get an explanation for that. And it's so strange to me that we get all of these God of the Gaps arguments and everything else, and there's a complete dodge of the fact that you cannot have any way to define a non-physical interacting with the physical. And even if they try to reduce to these arguments like the maximally reducible energy, something like energy waves or some kind of energy stringing or anything that they think is some quarks or maximally reducible energy argument, these still are things that exist inside of the physical, not inside of the non-physical. So they're starting with the physical, and then they still don't have a way of explaining how a non-physical interacts with it. It's always been a problem. It will always be a problem. You don't have a way of explaining how a thing that is not physical can touch or interact with a thing that is physical. It's probably the largest gap that there's ever been in any type of philosophy, and there's no place to even start at it.